Hey guys, so we've been wanting to do a lot of houseplant home tours, but with the pandemic, that's been put on the back burner. But we are getting in one houseplant home tour with maybe somebody that you know, a minimalist houseplant home tour. It's with my cameraman, Sander.
Okay, so I guess I'll give this camera to you.
Yeah, you're putting
and
some
we're
behind the wheel.
roles.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. You got me in frame?
I do have
All
it
right,
in frame,
good.
yeah.
I got my Low G's t-shirt on, so I look a little bit more like a plant nerd because I don't have as much plants that Summer has, but I have a couple, and we'll start in this room, which is the bedroom, and it's very dark in here. So what I got in here is this moss wall, and it's not alive because it's too dark in here to grow plants, but I wanted to have some green in here. I remember we did a house tour.
The makeover.
Well, the makeover.
Yeah, 111 Montgomery.
Yeah, exactly. And in the makeover, you had this art piece in the bathroom because there was no light there. And when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is really cool because it like extrudes from the wall. And I originally imagined to have it like above my bed because then I would wake up and look up and I would see all this like moss coming down. Although I later found out that this would have been a better place for it because the light kind of comes in through that hole in the wall and it shines on here and I don't know, it makes it look really nice, so.
It does look really nice.
Yeah, it's well worth it. It looks really cool. And it really makes the room look a lot more alive.
Yeah, because it is a dark room. I mean, I guess it's okay that your bedroom's a dark room. That's very...
Yeah, that's the contrast that I wanted to create because my living room, which you'll see next, is very bright. So I wanted to create these two zones where, you know, here it's all about sleeping. Over there, it's all about like making stuff and being awake.
Well, let's go out in the living room.
Yeah. Oh, I got a couple more plants here.
Oh, these are the infamous like fake plants.
Fake plant magnets for the fridge. I
They're cute.
Haven't posted anything. They're kind of cool.
Cute.
I don't know. I saw them, and then I have like obviously some art on here. I believe I found this in your house.
Oh yeah, I had some extras. That was from Good Eggs, my Good Eggs days.
Yeah.
And some good tea. Have to admit.
And some good tea.
Yeah, you have good taste.
Let's start with the first plant that I got in here, and that's actually a plant I got from you.
Yes.
This
is Terrazizi.
Yeah, exactly. So when we were doing the episode where you and Alan were like ripping apart the ZZ plant, I got one of the other plants, and it's been doing really well. Ever since it's put out 2 more leaves, these ones. As you can see, these are a lot younger than some of these older ones. And the older ones are really starting to go now. I also noticed that this plant unfortunately has some scale. So there's these little brown scales on it. And that's why it's all the way in this corner too, so it can't affect anything else. Not that there's much else to affect, but like, yeah. Sometimes I come in here and I just kind of scrape them off, but like here's one, for example. But yeah, it's quite tedious amount of work and don't always have time for it. So it seems like at least I try to keep them off the new leaves.
But there's that new one that's coming up.
So there's a new leaf coming out of here, which has been taking quite a while. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure, like, this was originally one of the stems, right?
Yeah.
So I guess that died off, similar to how these are died off. But then a new leaf will come out of it. I wonder what can I do with these to trigger a new leaf to come out, do you know?
I think that you could just have those cut just like that.
Cut them shorter?
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
And then it's really these bulbous rhizomes. So this one right here, you see that? That wasn't growing before.
This is cool. So this is a new leaf here. And this was loose at some point. It's still a little loose.
Yeah.
But it's this huge root ball that just has this little...
It's like the tuber that started to grow again. And it wasn't growing the last time I saw it.
No, it recently got up. And
we could probably move some of that extra plant matter away just so it doesn't get any fungus.
Oh, this stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here's another root, actually.
Oh, yep.
If you could see that.
Yeah.
And hopefully that will happen the same way as that one.
Cool.
Now, one thing I did notice, I'm not sure if you saw, I think I sent you a photo of it. It was this yellow mushroom that was all of a sudden growing in here.
Yeah.
And like overnight, it just shot up, and it was like, what is this growing in here? It kind of freaked me out. But you said it doesn't really matter to have that growing in here?
Well, I think that it probably is working its way on anything that's decaying, but it
okay,
probably
so that's why we
needed
take these leaves out.
Yeah, it probably needed a little bit of moisture and humidity in order to be able to grow. I don't think it's a mycorrhizal fungus. I think it's something that is more saprophytic, which means that it will, be on decaying matter.
Okay.
And so yeah, I would just have that cleaned out. I mean, we used some of the old soil in the pot, so there might have been some mycelium or hyphal strands from that mushroom that was in there.
This is how I check if the plant needs water. I have this paint stick in here.
Well, that's a great idea.
And it's still moist, so this is probably fine. And this plant goes without watering for like weeks, honestly, because it's such a big pot, and the plant itself can handle not being watered for a while as well. And then as soon as I moved in, I had like this platform here. So I was like, that's the perfect place to grow some hanging plants. Or is this a hanging plant?
Yeah, that's a hanging plant. Look, they're hanging.
Yeah. So they've been doing extremely well because I have this huge window and the light falls on here, and they just get so much light.
So you have a philodendron right here, philodendron hederaceum.
Exactly. And it's been putting out all these new leaves.
Wow, look at it.
It's even been trying to attach to the wall over here.
Which you don't want to do because this is a rental.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to pull this off, but let's see how strong it actually attached. Oh no, it's not attached at all.
Yeah, okay.
So sometimes it does attach. It leaves a little bit of a mark, but
it's
nothing
long.
big.
Look at
It's getting really long. Let's see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think it was touching the floor when I got this. This really grew over time. And so one thing that I noticed was that as soon as I got this, it got really bald on top. And I remember when we were filming some of these episodes where they like to have a lot of top-down light. And obviously I don't have any skylights here because there's apartments above me, but I was like, well, what if I turn my original windows into a skylight by just rotating the plant? So that's what I've done for these two is, if I take this off the wall here, you can see that I have this pot at like a 60-degree angle almost.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It hasn't really, the soil is still in there, everything still works. So I haven't really gotten a pot for it, but I just tipped it over, and it loves it because as soon as I did that, it started to really put out a lot of new growth up here.
Yeah.
As you can see, like this one, all these new leaves. So I think that works really well, actually.
Great tip.
And I did that same thing for this one.
This is a satin pothos or Scindapsus pictus.
Yeah, maybe I should just move my mouth, and then at the same time you say what the original name is, because I don't know what the names are. But
wow, this one's long too.
This one's got like 4 leaves going where they keep growing and they keep putting out new leaves. So this one's gonna be, this could almost become as long as the one you have growing on your, like closer to your ceiling where it reaches to both ends of the apartment.
Oh my God, that one's huge.
So yeah, and same thing with this. I just tipped it over so that the top of the plant can get some light. I did notice some leaves are turning yellow, of course, because they're not getting any light probably, or just getting old. But I did notice this sort of artifact on the leaf.
Yeah, it looks like some of the chlorophyll is had been destroyed, or maybe it was a lot of water and then no water or something. But yeah, it looks more cosmetic right now than anything. I wouldn't worry about it too much because it's only on a few leaves. It's not on like the majority of them, you know. Right.
Probably from not watering. I maybe water these like once a week or once 2 weeks. I'm not here that often. Like I travel quite a lot, at least before the pandemic. So I really wanted to get some plants that, could do well on their own. And that brings me to this side of the room. And here, I think you brought this over.
I did. It was actually a gift from Chelsea Garden Center because the snake plant didn't have a root, and it wasn't well rooted. And so I was like, oh, if we put this in soil, it'll root right up. And look, there's like another baby coming off of it.
Right. And I remember you were giving this to me and it would constantly fall out. Like it would fall out of the pot. Like I would move it a little bit and it just like fell over. And at some point, I don't know what happened, but like at some point really fast, all of a sudden it grabbed onto the soil with its roots. And at that point it was just really fixed into the pot like it is now. And I don't know if this has grown much, probably. But one thing that it started to do is put out this new offset over here. All of a sudden this came up.
Look at it, it's so great.
And this has probably been like 2 to 3 weeks of growth.
I don't know.
It's crazy how fast this grows.
Yeah.
I was really surprised because these are really slow growers, I guess, when they're established a bit more.
Right, but you have it right next to the window, which I think it's loving.
Yeah, it probably loves the light. And this is a terracotta pot. So I'm careful when I water it to not put it on the wood because otherwise the table would probably go bad. So I have
Good
these
tips.
coasters that I just use to make sure that the water doesn't go into the table. And then I got some cuttings from a friend of mine that is growing some basil, and I'm trying to root those, and it's gone.
Well, it looks like you did a really good job rooting
crazy.
those.
I think it's just the light. The amount of light here really helps to make that work. So that's working well. Probably have to pot these up at some point, but I don't know.
Well, it's towards the end of the season too, so it might be challenging. But
I'm not sure how to. This was more an experiment to see what would happen, and I guess like it works.
It worked really well.
Nature, it's incredible. And then at some point, I remember you were here at some point, and we went to the store, the grocery store. And then they somehow had these like black ZZ plants.
Yes.
You were like, oh, those are really one of a kind. And they were like 10 to 15 bucks or something.
And I got one, and then you were like, oh, I gotta get a second one.
Yeah, because like the table is so long.
Yeah.
I needed to have another one over there. You know, they're easy to care for, so why not? And then what I noticed on this one, there's new growth here.
New growth.
The new growth looks green, so I guess it turns darker as it ages.
It does.
And then there's also new growth
another
over
one.
here. Yeah, so there's 2 of them. And it came with this white pot, which, I don't really like, but
Could probably take the sticker off.
it's fine. It works with my my apartment and some of the furniture that I have here. So
Yeah, you're more like neutral tone guy out here.
it's fine. And then this one I picked up, which was cool. I was hoping that this would one day grow into a big fig like yours that would touch the ceiling, but it's been pretty slow. And I noticed, this is probably really bad, but I noticed there's a lot of like, is this mold or what is this?
Oh yeah, it looks like some type of mold. We'll need to get that off. We'll need to probably just repot this in a fresh soil. Maybe it was just water sitting on top and there was some kind of nutrient and then the mold was just like yummy.
It also doesn't really look like this is soil. It almost looks like peat moss or something.
Honestly, it looks like the peat moss that just dried out and you can't get water, and so the water just stays on top. And see this, like all this kind of stuff could be removed because it just is a place for.
So maybe we'll do that at the end of this video. We'll repot this.
Great idea.
So that, and then we can use the same pot.
Yeah, I think we could use the same pot. We might have to just wash it out a little bit.
Exactly. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then I got these things. I forgot where I got these because they're kind of cool looking.
Yeah, they are neat, like little seeds and stuff.
I love the colors here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Is that a plant? It was a plant at some point.
Yeah, dried.
It's just dried.
Well, I like dried plants and dried flowers because they last forever.
Yeah.
Basically.
Less care.
Yeah.
So, and then my last plant is the snake plant, which we got from Greenery Unlimited.
Yeah.
So I didn't have much plants to begin with. I probably only got 2 plants, but hanging out with you, just obviously at some point you're gonna acquire more and more plants. So it doesn't just stop at the door from Rayne's apartment, it goes beyond. So I have this one, very easy to take care of.
This is Dracaena trifasciata.
That's it. And then, I don't know, I put it close to the light. I guess it likes it, I don't know.
Well, it's great. I mean, it really does. I mean, your apartment is really neutral. It's like white and gray and some brown. So having a little green in here just gives it a little bit more life.
It does make it, like when I take these plants off the table, or if I take one of these hanging plants down, you could definitely tell the difference that that it's not as, like, even this wall is a little too empty still. Like, something needs to happen here. But yeah, you can definitely tell it's nice. And what I like about this setup is that it doesn't take much maintenance. Like, I could basically leave for 2 to 3 weeks and my plants are probably fine. So I really like that about these house plants, and that's it. So
great tour, Sander.
Should we repot that?
Yeah, the Ficus layrata. Let's do it.
I'm trying to remember all these plant names.
I know, you're pretty good at it.
Interested in developing a deeper relationship with the people and plants around you? Then check out my book, How to Make a Plant Love You. Cultivate green space in your home and heart. More information up on my blog at homesteadbrooklyn.com.
Like, do you have paper or anything that we could roll?
I don't, but what we could do is we could just take this carpet,
okay,
just pull that back, and then we'll just do it here on the floor.
As long as you don't mind me.
I think it's fine.
It's in a like this little nursery pot too.
Show me.
So you see this? It's in this like plastic pot. So.
Oh, okay.
You know, let me see if I could get a little bag or something that you may have.
So it's got some roots sticking out at the bottom already?
Yeah, it does.
Show me.
It has these roots, and it's because you have water down in here.
Oh, okay.
It would be nice to get a bigger pot, I guess, but all right, so this is...
I don't have one, so I don't know what to...
This is the problem with peat moss, is that when it gets too dry, it's really hard to re-wet it again. And then the water either just sits on top or goes down the edges. And it's not also that great for the roots of the plant, because when it's so dry, the roots are kind of crusty and then they get dried out and they're easy to hurt or destroy. So what I'm gonna do is just gently work around here. The peat is pretty good down below, it just was a little crunchy up top. That could happen too when it's sunny and the sun hits it. Otherwise, the roots are pretty good. I could feel that they have a lot of strength down below.
So you're trying to get rid of most of the peat?
I am. I think we have some more soil over there in that corner that I saw, so we could use some of that. You know, this has no aggregate in at all, so no perlite or vermiculite, and so I find when it's like pure peat, it's very easy to get this this dry. The good news is that the substrate is coming off fairly easily. Just massaging it a little bit.
There's nothing better for a plant than having it massaged by summer rain.
A little massage with fingertips. A tiny little fig. This might be one of the small dwarf varieties, so it may not ever get big. I got one that's called a Ficus layrata bambino, and it's a cultivar that's like a smaller version, so you don't know if you got that. Now this is interesting because you think this has drainage because it has this pot below, but it's not. It's an actual fake
It
plant.
looks fake.
Yeah.
It doesn't have any drainage.
It's like a faux planter.
Oh, that's so weird.
We don't have an extra planter, do we? We'd have to plant this back into the nursery pot down here.
Yeah, let's do that, because then I can put it in any pot after.
Yeah, and then you could always repot it after that. Okay.
It's gonna be messy, but...
I know, I'm gonna use a spoon. Forgive me for rooting around in your drawers.
Oh boy, I got 2 spoons.
Which one to use afterwards when you're eating your soup?
Let me mark that one with some red tape.
Yeah. I think the soil, any of this potting medium, luckily is relatively inert, and it has been...
I can eat it?
Well, I wouldn't say you could eat it, but, well, you might be able to. It might give you some other types of nutrients, but but they do heat this soil up so it doesn't have any bad bacteria or fungus or anything like that. And this is nice because it has a little bit of perlite in it. I haven't used this brand before, but looks great. Nice and dark.
Yeah, I think it came with that Greenery Unlimited shipment.
We ended up just putting that into the cash po with that and leaving it in its nursery pot. So have this nice extra bag. I'm gonna add some more to the top. And I would monitor this because if there was that kind of gray mold on the top, then it might still be left in the soil. It's really hard to get all that soil out, but it looked like it was just on the surface. Because as I was removing some of that,
yeah,
the rest of the soil looked perfectly fine. It just needed some aggregates. I mean, it's just probably these.
Because that's the problem, like soil has cavities in it for air to go through it.
Yeah,
and water.
which is important.
And if there's no air, the soil can never dry. And the roots can also never...
Well, the soil will dry. If there's no air or water that could get in there, it'll just dry out.
Yeah, it will dry out.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But I think in some cases, you know, some of these plants, we get them for really cheap at the supermarket or something, and they're like $10, but the growers just grow them really fast and in probably not such great mixtures that don't last over time. So look, that looks a lot healthier, doesn't it?
That's a lot better.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yep, so we could just use this. And
that looks so much better.
So much better.
Look at that.
I think the plant's gonna be happier. Maybe it's gonna start to grow now.
Hey, I don't know. We didn't give him that much space.
I know. Well, you're gonna need to repot this on your own. Now you know what to do.
Okay.
But I would give this a little bit of a slightly larger planter pot if you are at like Agway or your local store that you could get a planter from.
Yeah.
That's it. And I don't think we made that much of a mess, luckily. Phew.
It's all right.
There we go. Well, thank you, Sandra, for the tour.
Yeah. Thanks for coming over.
Yeah. That's a wrap.
If you didn't hear yet, we just released Houseplant Basics, which is an introductory mini course for beginner houseplant enthusiasts. The video-based course is set up to be both concise and comprehensive, and it serves as a perfect primer for our Houseplant Masterclass, which is a month-long course on houseplant care, cultivation, and more. You can find out more information on both courses at homesteadbrooklyn.com or search for the courses in the description below.